Women's AmeriCup 2025, and we have a classification matchup between the Dominican Republic and Colombia. Two teams hoping to punch their ticket to the World Cup qualification tournament. Fans here in the arena in the early morning local time. It is 11:30 a.m. locally here in Santiago, Chile, and we have 4 great games for you today on semifinal Saturday. We'll start things off with the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Canada, and the USA in the first semifinal matchup, and then Brazil and Argentina, who will be thinking upset tonight to cap things off. Some Colombian fans have made the trip here, and a lot at stake for Colombia and the Dominican Republic as Colombia gets introduced to the fans on hand here. I'm Carlin Gay alongside Amy Oliver. Thanks for joining us wherever you are, however you're doing so. Well, Colombia playing shorthanded with their star, Moscajala, young star I should say. Moscajala, 17 years of age, leading the team in blocks, unavailable for the last 2 games. But Amy, they still have a lot to play for. The World Cup of Basketball qualification tournaments happening next spring. They win today, they know they're in.
That kind of seemed to be the mindset of both of these teams at their games yesterday. Listening to the press conferences, the coaches, and some of the players talk. Colombia had a tough game against Canada, 24-point loss. And the Dominican had a tough one against the USA. But Canada and USA are powerhouses, perennial powerhouses. And both of these teams sat there and said, we knew we were going to have a tough one today. We have to gear up for tomorrow, understanding, to your point, Carlin, that the ticket to get to the next phase, that pre-qualifying World Cup tournament is the goal. And so this game, in some ways, almost feels like a final for these two teams.
It really does. Colombia has finished 5th in the last 3 AmeriCups. They can make it 4 in a row with 2 wins with their last 2 games here in Santiago, Chile. On the flip side, the Dominican Republic being introduced here, and obviously a tough path. Anytime you're in a classification game, it means you had a tough path so far in this tournament. They were able to get the win against El Salvador. That punched their ticket to the quarterfinals. But then they saw Argentina, Brazil, and Canada, and then the United States. I don't know if those are our 4 semifinal teams, so you couldn't get harder of a road here to this matchup.
That's a great point, and you hear it all the time. A record is not always indicative of a team, and this is a prime example of that. This will be, I think it'll be a very good matchup. Both of these teams are experienced. The Colombians over half a decade together, and Puerto Rico, or Dominican Republic, also with a nice core. So just really understanding the result and the implications to a game like this.
Dominican Republic already besting their effort from the last AmeriCup where they finished 10th. They can finish no lower than 8th place here in Santiago, Chile. The national anthem's up first, and then the opening tip of this classification game between Colombia and the Dominican Republic. Colombia and the Dominican Republic with an opportunity to finish in 5th spot here in the AmeriCup. We have 2 classification round games here for you this morning. This is the first. Mexico and Puerto Rico will be in the second. But first, we'll introduce you to our officials here in this one. Laureano, Namira, and Salas Rodriguez from Puerto Rico, the United States, and Brazil. 3 top officials getting the assignment for this important game for these 2 teams. All right, we'll meet the starting lineup now. First, for Colombia, Juliani Paz, Manuela Rios, Maybel Martinez, Jennifer Munoz, and Daniela Gonzalez. For Coach Luis Cueca, who has been a part of this program, helped build it up and gotten his team in position to once again finish 5th here in the AmeriCup, something they've done in the past 3 editions of the AmeriCup. There is Coach Cueca right there, smile on his face here in the morning, getting set to go. Cameraman trying to get him to smile and wave. He finally gave us a thumbs up there.
It's game day, baby. Come on.
He's locked in. All right, let's see who the 5 are for the Dominican Republic. It'll be Capayen, who is a terrific scorer, averaging 15 points per game here in Santiago. Joanna Morton, the captain. Jennifer Jimenez, Batista, and Gisolis Reynoso for Coach Alberto Zabala, the Cuban native, coaching this Dominican Republic squad. And an opportunity for Dominican. They can't get any worse than the way that they finished the AmeriCup in 2023. So they've already taken a step forward, but he doesn't want to stop here. He wants to finish as high as 5th and lock in their spot at the World Cup qualification tournament, which will happen next spring. So we take a look at Colombia, Amy, and you see this Colombian squad, and you think about the players that have kind of made up this national team, and Maybel Martinez, Jennifer Munoz, who have been together for quite a long time. This could be their last AmeriCup together.
Something definitely you process as well when you're warming up as a player. As much as, I don't know, no, we're not thinking about that, we're focused on the game. It's always there because there's so much investment. You've invested so much of your heart and soul, really, when you're playing for your country for that long, and understanding that that time might be coming to an end. And so you fight for, and hopefully you're still around that for that tournament. You win this one, you get another year. And we've seen some of these teams get really emotional after they've won some games, and that's why, because it guarantees another opportunity, and that's all you want.
Yeah, and for the Dominican Republic, again, they're building this program, building this national team, trying to get it back to glory here in the Americas. They finished 10th last time around in Mexico in 2023. They had a tough pool play. They lost to Mexico, lost to Puerto Rico, lost to Colombia, and Canada. Never got out of pool play. Well, this time around, they were able to get through pool play, and now the sky's the limit. Can they qualify for the World Cup of basketball? That would be a dream come true for the DR.
They're going to have some big-time performances. When you look at this starting lineup in particular, I look at each one of those women and I'm going, yeah, she's got to have a game. Yep, she's got to have a game. Yep. And they're all capable. I think when I look at the Dominican Republic starting lineup, they're a puzzle. They're a great puzzle. They've got rebounder, scorers, an excellent defender up top in number 6, Jimenez. And so if they just play their roles, right, you feel confident going into this type of matchup.
Dominican will be in the home white, Colombia in the road black. Our first of 4 games today here in Santiago, Chile, and a good one between 2 teams hoping to qualify for the Basketball World Cup qualification tournament. A win here guarantees them a spot there. And off we go here from Santiago, Chile. Thanks for joining us wherever you are, however you're doing so. Carlin Gay alongside Amy Audibert. It's been great to have all the fans here in Chile just embracing this AmeriCup. No matter the time of day, as we see Reynoso with the first 2 for the Dominican. Not known for his scoring, but able to get first 2 to go through. And now defensively having to guard Paz. Paz losing control of the basketball. Capayen, who's averaging 15 points per game, trying to fire a pass into Jimenez, and that was a kick ball there by Rios. Reynoso on the perimeter. This is Capayen. Nice feed inside to Batista. Can't get that to drop. It's a tough angle for the lay. And two defenders converge on it. Gonzalez. Martinez on the baseline. Kicks it back out to Gonzalez. Paz on the post again. Good defense that time by Reynoso, forcing a tough shot. Munoz on the follow, can't get it to drop. And right now, Colombia is starting out of sorts.
Well, clearly the Dominican Republic is willing to completely give Paz her left hand.
Sure.
And she still went right.
Scouting report out on her. You've seen 5 games now for 2 teams. Dominican trying to mitigate some of Paz's strengths. As you see, Rios a little bit out of control there, but looking to keep possession. It's Colombia basketball. Munoz on the catch. Here's Paz on the perimeter, handing off. Munoz will step up. That's touched by Reynoso and kept in by Batista. Joanna Morton, the captain for Dominican, her 3 off the mark. And Gonzalez clears.
Couple shots not falling early here for the Dominican Republic, but in terms of just looking sharp, to me, they've got the edge of looking sharp in this one this morning.
Jimenez a little too aggressive on the Rios drive, and she's going to pick up her first foul.
Yeah, that's a matchup right there. Foot speed all over. I mean, those two players, their feet have got some fire under them, no doubt. And so a matchup to keep your eyes on.
Despite her size, Jimenez is very physical defensively. As Reynoso almost came up with a theft. And Colombia almost telegraphing that they want to go inside the Paz and get her going early in this game. Martinez, that pass a little too short for her to catch, and it rolls out of bounds. We've seen this throughout the tournament. I mean, these early starts have either plagued the team or been a benefit for some teams, and right now Colombia just seems like they're stuck in mud.
They are half a step behind on both sides of the ball.
That was their second turnover. That's Capayen tees up the 3 and fouled by Munoz, so that will send her to the line.
Further into the point of just being half step behind, because Capayen did not attack with pace. It's a good shot because Munoz looked like she was about to go under the screen and run to it. She didn't do it necessarily quickly. Capayen is one of the more dynamic scorers in this tournament. Finished pool play averaging 17, 5, and 2. But it came in bunches to me, right? Like, she would just kind of take over a game for a segment and really put a lot of pressure on the opponents. This is a player, I think she knows her capabilities, and how can she break down the one person in front of her? She usually gets to work.
Only Damaris Dantes and Ariela Girantes of Puerto Rico and Brazil, respectively, have scored more points than Capayen here in the AmeriCup. Munoz driving baseline, keeping the dribble alive, finds the nail, tees up the 2, and drills it. Jennifer Munoz, the captain of this Colombian squad, just averaging under 11 points per game through the 5 games here in Santiago, Chile. Jimenez's 3's off the mark. Paz at the rebound, and Manuela Rios will push. Gonzalez couldn't handle the catch, finally putting a fork in it, and then kicks it back out. And Rios had to give it away to Jimenez. Jimenez with the Euro, and she'll earn a trip to the line.
Jimenez, I really enjoyed watching her play in this FIBA Women's AmeriCup. She plays with, at times will get out of control, but her team, I think her team is okay with that because of all the great things she brings. It's kind of like one of those high-risk, high-reward players, and you live with the risks and when they don't go right, because many times those rewards. Her ability to defend and put pressure up top has really kept a lot of offense in the mud. And then when she is on offense, I think she just breaks down that first line of defense. But I don't know if you remember, Carlin, earlier, there was a really tight game, and her defense down the stretch is the reason they won that game, in my humble opinion.
Sometimes players start games on the bench because they can come in and change the energy of an entire game. You think about in the NBA, Alex Caruso is probably someone like that in the NBA champions. Jimena starts the game because she sets the tone energy-wise for the Dominican Republic, and they feed off of that a lot of times in their successful outings, as Batista can't get that one to drop, and that's Munoz, who will push back the other way. Martinez, they're looking for Paz inside. Reynoso's done a good job thus far defending. Not that time, as Paz is able to get to the other side of the hoop and finish.
Yeah, that time she did a nice job using her body to create the right-hand layup. But interesting enough, again, very intentional to get to the right side.
Morton on the 45, using Reynoso screen, draws two, puts it over the top of Paz and able to kiss it home. The vet getting it done that time to tie things back up at 6. Manuel Rios' shoelaces have been untied now the last 2 defensive possessions, and hopefully they're secure now. That's the reason for the stoppage of play.
I'd like to see her shoes tied. Very fun electric player, but I would love her shoes to be tied properly, so thank you. Let's get that fixed up. Look at that, there you go, the shoes are tied.
Yeah, the shoes are tied. You can see the speed, the bounce pass in the Paz. Again with the right-hand finish over Reynoso. Liliani Paz now with back-to-back baskets for Colombia. She has 6 points and counting. Capellan back to the basket. Haven't seen much of this from her, but capable from there. The fall-away is not there that time. Morton between 4 black jerseys. Thought she got hit. And we'll go the other way with Munoz. Munoz. That time ripped by Batista. It will stay here. 15 on the shot clock for Colombia to work with. Coach Cuenca looks on as tries to get his team back to the FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament. Reynoso was dumped on the ground that time by Paz being a little too aggressive, but credit Reynoso for trying to fight in front.
Yeah, she was fighting for front. Watch the position. She's going to sit on top, and I think, to be honest, I was watching in real time. I think she also lost her balance a little bit, but Paz looks much more guilty because of the extension. Totally agree with the call, but it was just a funky play. But Reynoso with the right idea, playing lanes, not playing Paz's body inside.
As a post player, it's probably quite difficult to do that on someone with the size of Paz.
It's all about timing, Carla, and that's when you can leave to get the lane.
Reynoso's floater not there. Paz with the rebound, and she's going to get called for the foul. Going over the back of Paz that time. Looked like Morton took an elbow to the head by Paz. We'll see here on this replay. The back end of that would have been the elbow. Back to live action in a 2-point game. This is Paz. She'll try from deep. Her foot was on the line. Would have been a 2 in the review. Munoz crossing over Reynoso, and then the wild close by Reynoso leads to a bank 3 here on a Saturday morning in Santiago.
And if that doesn't wake Colombia up, nothing will. What a shot. They always go for the backboard's your friend. I mean, best friend at times, but just a little bit of a handle, and then I think the contact almost happened after the release, so you got a shot. And the young Marta Mascarella at 17 years old says, teach me how to do that.
The learning tree from Munoz. Those branches are extended to, as Amy said, the 17-year-old Mascarella, who's not playing in this game as she suffered a lower body injury that's going to keep her out of action for the rest of our time here in Santiago. Will be evaluated once she gets back home to Colombia. She played last season in the top division in Italy and getting some good experience as a pro, as a teenager, which is not easy to do. This is Rios, as Colombia now starting to flex their muscles offensively after struggling to start this basketball game, working on a 6-0 run. Gonzalez back to the basket, kicks out. Munoz weaving through traffic. Gonzalez will try for three. Indeed. Daniela Gonzalez has the ability to shoot the three from the line beyond, only shooting 23% though in this tournament. I have to feel good to see that go through the hoop. Here she is at the foul line. Unselfishly kicks it back out to Caicedo. Maybe a missed opportunity there, an overpass by Colombia. Rios, straight line drive to the hoop. Got it to go off the window. And that's going to lead to a timeout. Colombia now extend to their largest lead of the game on a 10-0 run here in the first quarter, 3:04 remaining.
And now the DR's in quick sand a little bit, and Colombia's getting to all the spots. Nice downhill drive from Rios, but also Vente, who just kind of calmed everyone down and got her team into a bit of a handoff action from the perimeter.
Coach Zabaleta going to address his troops in the huddle.
Empezamos bien y de buena primera se desploma el equipo. ¿Pero por qué? Explíqueme por qué. Ah, sí, es verdad que fallamos 4 tiros libres seguidos. No importa, no importa. Vamos a seguir jugando. Vamos a seguir moviendo la pelota y atacando el aro. Nos desplomamos y después no defendemos allá. No hablamos. No es que no defendemos, no hablamos. No hay rotación defensiva. Entonces con un equipo así no podemos. Porque tienen experiencia y madurez. Mira eso. 10 puntos un momentico. ¿Ok? Estamos jugando abierto, ¿verdad? Estamos jugando abierto. Estamos jugando abierto para el trabajo. Y en cambio aquí estamos jugando para hacer este trabajo. ¿Cuándo lo van a hacer? ¿Cuándo lo van a hacer? Vamos a jugar baloncesto. Mejoramos ahora. Tranquila. Vamos 24.
The offense starting to flow a little bit now for Colombia as you take a look at that Gonzalez three. A 10-0 run leading to the timeout after struggling a little bit to wake up here in the early morning in Santiago.
What you saw there was a lot of white jerseys hanging out in the paint and kind of willing to relent those looks. So coach just trying to have some sort of caffeine-infused timeout, just trying to get something going into his team's veins. And you see, you know he can do that, like full court pressure. You better wake up. I love the full court pressure, and I love how coaches utilize it out of timeouts early in games.
Defense extended now for Colombia. Hodge on the floor for the Dominican Republic. She drives inside, feeds it to De Los Santos, who is rejected by Gonzalez. Capayen's three is down.
Message received.
Yeah.
Great ball movement, handle the pressure into the paint, kick out to the corner.
Sometimes basketball is easy. It's wonderful how you can get 2 feet in the paint, kick it out, and shots seem to just fall after that. Capayen had that slap out of bounds. 9 ticks on the shot clock for Coach Cuente's squad to work with here offensively. Rios got bumped by Hodges, stepped back for 3. That's off. And a rebound pulled down by Calise. Looked like she was shot out of a cannon running the break there. Mismatch down low. And Caicedo submarining De Los Santos that time and draws the foul. That's going to be the first on Caicedo.
It's a little bit of a bailout. I know that De Los Santos was calling for the ball, but I'm not sure if she actually had great position for it, right? It was a tough angle. Was she in front? Was it a lob? Got a feel for Caicedo on that one because she was, and it was a body. It was too much body, but it was just another one of those herky-jerky plays. They just looked a little funny.
On that, is that the receiver or the passer? Who's that fault?
I mean, I don't want to sound biased. I would say passer. The receiver can't see necessarily what's behind her. She's working so hard for position. At passers, I don't see a lane or. And then De Los Santos had to release, and that's got bailed out, and it pays off in a big way with the Capian three.
So she's starting to feel it now from that side of the court, banging another triple and getting some offense here for the Dominican Republic after they gave up an 11-0 run. Caicedo driving, missed the layup, and never touched the rim, so the shot clock doesn't reset. Lopez on the probe, kicked it out. Caicedo will pull for two at the nail. Not there. Dos Santos with a strong rebound, and here's Capayen, who has a hot hand. The last two shots were threes, and they fell. Hodge on the drive. Nice up fake on Vente, and she's going to earn a trip to the line.
Hodge had such a nice showing yesterday in that quarterfinal game against the USA, and the Dominican Republic was outmatched, and I don't think they would even fight you on that, but I thought she was, out of all the players on the team, and she led them with 12 points, but that's not what it's not the 12 points. I thought she played with the most tenacity. She had 6 rebounds, 3 of those on the offensive glass, but she didn't stop the entire game. It didn't matter what the score was. She just kept going.
She plays in the French League professionally and started playing with the national team in 2013, so a vet of this program. Scalise will push the other way. Calise right over the top of Gonzalez, fearless in the paint, and that's going to lead to a timeout.
What a response from Dominican Republic out of the previous timeout. Offensively, yeah, you're seeing the buckets, but how about the stops on defense? Just a little more action intensity, jumping into lanes and chopping that ball up, getting out the other way.
1:09 remaining in the first quarter. It's a 3-point game, and we'll head to the Colombia huddle.
Son los partidos que hay que jugar, mami. Aquí es donde hay que hacerlas. Aquí es donde hay que resolver bien. Tome buenas decisiones. No podemos coger un punto nosotros, pues, porque siempre la misma cosa, pues. A entregar los puntos ahí mismo. Defienda duro, mami. Póngasele duro en el balón. No que la van a tocar y se va a caer ahí mismo. Vamos a hacer directa del lado de Mabel. Listo, para que ella termine en el tiro. Y que Catalina esté jugando la entregada aquí y la otra caiga ya.
Coach Cuenca that time a little frustrated with the offense and the lack of movement. And back the other way, you see the Calise finish oversized.
Yeah, it all starts with getting, look at that, a drive to the paint. Even the ones that end up in the kick-out threes, they're just playing with a lot more action. When you look at the Colombian timeout, what resonates with me is he got to the clipboard with about 10 seconds left in it. It wasn't about drawing up anything magic. I can't save, sometimes I think coaches, I can't save you guys. I can't help you right now. You've got to figure this one out yourself and execute the game plan at full speed with intensity, and now they're moving a little bit different. There you go.
To your point, Amy, the response out of the last timeout. Dominican Republic with an 8-0 run right now, looking to pour it on here late in the fourth. Capayen. The jump pass to the intended Dos Santos got robbed by Paz that time. 2-for-1 opportunity here for Colombia if they want it. They go inside to Paz. The right-hand layup is there again.
De Los Santos having a hard time with that matchup down low.
Okay, at least not giving Colombia any time to breathe on the straight line drive. Missed the layup. And shot and game clock, about 2-second difference between. As Lopez has it, Gonzalez inside to Paz again. This time she's fouled and will have to earn it at the line.
De Los Santos, she got caught behind and Paz got her with a great drop step and finish. Now she's in front, and the pass was actually so sharp that she wasn't able to get her hands on it. And so it's a tough matchup, and she's trying different types of looks, and that's all you can ask for, I think, when you've got an undersized player against the experience of Paz inside. And certainly the Colombian team, Carlin, I think they've spend a lot of time in practice, reps, getting the ball to her, because the post entry clearly a huge part of their offense.
Well, Paz was one of the All-Star 5 for the bronze medal winning squad in the 2024 South America Championship. She averaged 10 points, 7 rebounds there. Capayen with another 3, and that's how we close the third quarter. 3 threes for Capayen. Dominican Republic, however, trail by 3 heading into the quarter break. A good one here, early morning in Santiago, Chile. A battle for a chance at a World Cup qualification tournament spot.
Capayen, this is who she is, so it's not like they're great shots, but you don't want to sit here and go, oh my gosh, because this is who she is. This is how she plays. It's great to see her hitting those shots if you're the Dominican Republic, but you kind of need that consistency all game from her. She's that good of a scorer.
Best plays from the first quarter on deck. And it took Colombia a while, but that jump shot right there opened the scoring for them. And Jennifer Munoz, the captain of this team, got things going offensively for Colombia, and they were able to flow a little bit and got to as big as a lead as 11 points in that first period. Dominican Republic, though, taking the punch and then answering back with an 8-0 run. And we sit in a 3-point basketball game after 10 minutes of play.
This is a perfect example when you hear the term, it's a game of runs. Colombia started off, huge pushback from the Dominican Republic, and then you saw Colombia get it inside the Paz a bit, and then some big-time shooting. Look at the handle, the cross evading the defense, creating just enough of a window with great rhythm. That's just like, that's one-on-one, great offense, and she's capable. I think when you got a teammate like Capayen, you know you can generate shots on possessions because she can in front, just break down the person in front of her and then look at the catch and shoot. So you've seen it now off the bounce, you see it off the catch and shoot, and that's just versatility at its best from a long-range sniper.
She is just having a fantastic morning here in Santiago, powering this offense for the Dominican Republic. We've been powered by the courtside 1891F. You can scan a QR code and do what me and Amy have been doing, following along with not only the FIBA Women's AmeriCup here in Santiago, but the FIBA U19 World Cup for the boys happening over in Europe right now. And they're in semifinal Saturday as well. Courtside 1891, your home for international basketball, as Paz starts the second quarter by getting fouled, and we'll get back to the foul line.
And the Dominican Republic, they were doing okay with Reynoso in the game a little bit. I think she's a bit more experienced in terms of defending the size of Paz.
Yep. But she has the 2 fouls, and that's the reason why she's not playing right now. And they had to make the switch, and De Los Santos had an opportunity to guard Paz. Now it's Sosa who draws the assignment.
And I wonder at some point if Hodge also looks to switch out, just because while she doesn't have the size, I think she's got the strength in her lower body. She's super aggressive. It'd be interesting to see what they do with matchups here.
Abreu spinning in the lane was ripped, able to track down the loose ball. Sosa on the block, working on Paz. Can't get it to go. And Hodge with the offensive rebound. Finds Abreu, who frees herself for 2. That's off. Hodge was getting blocked out. All she could do was tip it, and it falls out of bounds.
You see the relentless effort on the glass. That's #1 on her list, I would say. Her greatest gift is she's got a great knack for the ball around the rim, and she knows how to use, again, her undersize at times to her advantage, getting under opponents and creating space for a board.
It was a 4th offensive rebound on that last possession for the Dominican Republic. Colombia also with 4 boards so far in the game. Paz fouled by Sosa on the hole. Fouls on the floor, so second team foul going to be the first on Sosa. Excuse me, the second on Sosa.
It's unfortunate because it's 2, but I would say if you want to keep your glass half full, it was on the catch. It very easily could have been an and 1. I thought actually Paz had a great drop, and her teammate did a nice job of leading her too. So it's unfortunate it's #2 for Sosa, but it could have been a 3-point play.
Yeah, Sosa now on the bench with 2, as is Reynoso. So that brings De Los Santos off the bench, who comes up with the block. Kelis finds Hodge in the paint. Paz able to tie the ball up. Possession arrow in favor of Dominican, so we'll stay here. Here's the Paz tie-up.
Yeah, she kind of went right into the defense. Interesting.
Meanwhile, back to live action. That was the 5th offensive rebound after a Capayen 3 miss for the Dominican Republic. Another 3 on the way, no good. And Rios will push the other way. Rios inside to Paz. She is dominant on that right side of the court right now.
Yeah, she's doing a really solid job of getting down to the block, and Rios letting her get to the spot and get set a little bit before she made that pass.
Capayen on the step back. That's a 2. Can't get that to drop. And Paz with the rebound. Munoz running. Munoz right to the rim. And that's going to lead to a timeout, as no one made an effort to stop the basketball. And Munoz with a straight line drive all the way to the cup to give Colombia a 26-17 lead here early in the second.
Straight line drive, but just beat 2 defenders right in front of her with hardly any resistance. That's one of those where you just know the horn's coming. You know a timeout's coming.
Let's see how Coach Zabaleta addresses his team.
La defensa, cuando la bola va para acá, yo defiendo la grande y tengo que meterme para acá, para que se me pare y se la tira por arriba, que está contando muy fácil, está contando muy fácil está contando. Nos preparamos para las perimetrales y la grande es la que nos está haciendo la fiesta. Entonces, vamos a defender. Ok, atiende, mami. Vamos, Jennifer. Vamos a trabajar 3-2. 32. Activa la zona, y hablando. Activa, a ver qué pasa. Recuerden los tiros de 3 puntos, porque de 2 puntos lo alcanzamos, pero de 3 no lo alcanzamos. Ok, Miley.
Colombia finding Paz on the block, and it's paid off for her as she's able to give this team a 9-point lead. This Munoz layup led to the final timeout of the first half available to the Dominican Republic. They don't have a timeout remaining with 8:04 remaining in this first half.
Carlin, have you ever played for any kind of coach that sometimes they just stare at you?
Yeah.
You know, one of my college coaches, Katie Meyer, she has ice blue eyes. And sometimes just the stare was enough to send a big message. And you kind of saw that in the first couple seconds there of the Dominican timeout.
I can hear Coach Imperial right now. He wouldn't even take the timeout. He'd just stare at you. Out of a timeout, not a good look to get that turnover. And Rios now with Paz. Munoz jab and 3. That's not there. Jimenez with the rebound. Batista almost walked. Finds De Los Santos at the nail, spacing a big issue here for Dominican. They're gonna have to pull it back out and reset. They go inside. Hodge in front of Paz. Forces one up over Paz. Can't get that to drop. And Munoz will dribble back the other way. Munoz on the cross and the drive and the finish. That is a tough move.
Munoz starting to get very aggressive. You saw the full court forcing the timeout, but even the jab 3, now that take, really taking on a bit of a scoring load right now.
She has 10 and counting. Jimenez's 3's off the mark. And Martinez now in the open floor. Valentina Lopez. Paz once again going right side. De Los Santos that time able to get a hand on the basketball and tap it out of bounds. Paz thought she got hit. This is a very dangerous part of the game right now for the Dominican Republic, with an eternity here left in the second quarter. They don't have any more timeouts to stop any runs or to recalibrate. So the 5 on the floor really have to figure it out. And it should start here, Amy, with a stop defense.
You really rely on your on-court leadership.
Martinez's three does not fall. Cleared by De Los Santos. Here's the leadership that Amy was talking about, and Martin forcing her way to the 10. Count it, and there's a foul away from the basketball.
The official's going to talk because I think one of them called off ball and one of them called on ball. It's great getting together with communication. But there's your leadership by example, as you were talking about, Carlin. Coach felt that game getting away to burn those timeouts with still so much time left. Probably a good decision though, right? I mean, it was running away a little bit.
So let's see what they decide here. The officials having some conversations, and they're going to send both of the teams to the bench and huddle up. So an officials timeout, so to speak, and an opportunity for them to really get this one right. The initial call is the basket by Morton, but as Amy said, one official had an and one. The other official had a foul away from the basketball that saw Batista go down, and we might go to the monitor here.
If a contact meet the criteria for an active foul.
And they're going to check to see if the foul off the ball meets the criteria for an unsportsmanlike foul. So let's eavesdrop in on the ref's conversation.
We are going to review if a contact meet the criteria for act of violence. Give me my camera at normal speed, please. Yes, the black player, number 10, is holding the right arm of white number 9. There is not an attempt to play the ball. Yeah, under the basket, yeah, right basket, please. So, yeah, the main camera is the best angle. Yes, give me that one. No, yes, I don't have one sportsmanlike on that one. It's a normal basketball play.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
So after review, the contact does not meet the criteria for a possible act of violence. We have 6:31 on the game clock and 24 on the shot clock for black ball. Yes?
Yes.
After review, the contact does not meet the criteria for act of violence. We have black ball under the basket with 24.
Appreciate the officials wearing the mic here. There's official Lorenzano, the crew chief from Puerto Rico. She was over at the monitor with referee Naimira from the United States, and they made the clear call there. And it is Colombia basketball after the review. Delgado into the game, her three off the mark. Dominican showing a zone here. Lopez at the nail, tees it up and knocks it down. Jimenez on the drive, can't get that to drop. Vente will track down the miss. A 10-0 run right now for Colombia. Lopez trying to add to that, and does. And a reminder, as clock ticks down to 5:45 remaining in this first half, Dominican Republic do not have a timeout to call.
Can't get cross half court here, Carlin.
Yeah, so Jimenez on the other side of the court, outside of camera view. She is struggling to get past half court, limping to the bench. And you can see her left leg wrapped up. She was already kind of nursing a hit, and now being helped off by her teammate, Rodriguez and De Los Santos. Rodriguez checks into the game for Jimenez.
Such a tough break for the Dominican Republic, whether she can return or not, but just in this moment, because you want to play with pace, the Dominican Republic, and she pushes that pace. You want to play with it full court, but also half court, getting into the paint and creating some outside looks.
Rodriguez is on the ball. First time she touches it. Capayen, by the way, on the bench, leading scorer for the Dominican Republic. So you got to wonder where the offense is going to come from. And Batista could not corral that bounce pass. And another turnover here for the Dominican. That is their 5th here in the first half. Rios' jump shot not there. Fresh 14 gathered by Vente leads to a Delgado 3. It's all falling right now for Colombia. Morton on the 45. Finds Batista. Batista turns around, fires, can't get it to drop. And Rios on the push. Rios again right to the rim. Blew the layup. And Evangelista surveying the situation. She's going to pull for 3. Indeed.
See if that can get her team going a little bit. I like the confidence to take it, but you better make that shot if you're going to take it.
But without timeout, she's okay.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. And you're going to run back on defense anyways.
That's a tough move inside by Valentina Lopez. Amongst the trees, able to get that to fall. Morton on the cross, working on Delgado, spins back inside and got hammered by Vente. And she'll go to the line for 2 free throws.
Great decision from Morton. Calm everybody down by getting to the free throw line, and I know the Evangelista 3 was much needed and great for the Dominican Republic. You'd like to see them attack and try to get some touches inside as you get a look at Jimenez getting worked on the table there. It looks like they're wrapping some ice, and that's usually not a great thing in terms of if you're going to come back or not in the game.
Meanwhile, Morton at the line, the captain of this team, 37 years old, the oldest player on the team, been playing for the national team, the senior national team, since '03. Has played in 18 events and gathered 4 silvers, 3 bronze for this program. She has been just fantastic as a leader for a program that is continuing to build and really try to get to the next level. A win here this afternoon would put them in prime position to allow her to play in a basketball World Cup, which I'm sure she's salivating to be able to do. Under 4 to play here in the first half. Valentina Lopez inside. Vente, good catch. Had it slapped out of her hands. It's going to stay here with 7 to shoot. By the way, Reynoso back onto the floor with her 2 fouls. As they try to protect her in the zone. Now they're going to go back to a man-to-man on this inbound. She's guarding Vente and the ball. Rios. Lopez straight on 3. Left it short. And a strong rebound by Morton. Evangelista, good up fake to free herself for a lay.
Off of stops, playing with pace. That starts with Morton making that decision to push and get that quick outlet to the corner.
Delgado. It's interesting that they have Reynoso out on the wing instead of down low. Morello throws up a wild one. Vente comes up with the offensive rebound. Rios probing the zone. Met by Reynoso. Kicks it out. Lopez. She had it stripped by Rodriguez. Dominican running again. Evangelista wasn't able to track it down as Rodriguez tried to lead her to the corner. Just led her a little too much. You see the pain there that Jimenez is in. Not a great sign for her. Hopefully she's okay. And there it is. Right there you see that leg bending underneath her. And it looks like an ankle injury right now. We've seen a couple of ankles turn. Dominguez Dantes yesterday turning her ankle in the quarterfinal game and was able to actually come back and have a phenomenal performance, dropping 22 points in that contest.
And that contest feels like it's a week away at the end of today. But I will say, a storyline for Brazil, because oftentimes when you tweak a roll in game, you tape it up and you keep moving. I always say it's the next day you find out. And they're probably grateful they're the last one tonight. So she's probably sitting in a stim machine right now.
No question. So we're going to get another review here to see I believe, who touched it last, going out of bounds. Let's listen in.
This is a challenge by Colombia. Give me the right camera and go until the ball go out of bounds and put frame by frame, please. So we have, yeah. Go back. So here we have white is the last to touch. There's an attempt for black. Yes, zoom in, please, yeah. And yeah, there is no touch. Last one to touch the ball is white, so we have black ball. Yes, with 24 on the shot clock on the sideline and 2:56 on the game clock. Do you agree? Okay. So after review, the head coach challenge is successful. We have Colombia ball. After review, the head coach challenge is successful. We have Colombia ball on the sideline with 24 on the shot clock. I have the ball.
The crew chief, Orellano, again from Puerto Rico, making the call. By the way, can we give a quick shout out to the crew? That baseline camera, being able to pick that up to get the correct call.
And you know who's very thankful? Colombia.
Yeah, yeah, extremely thankful. Some of the best here in the Americas, not only on the floor, but also behind the scenes. As Delgado's three off the mark. Capayen, who's back into the game now with the rebound. Hodge on the drive. That's a tough lay. We've seen some signs offensively for Dominican in terms of one-on-one play. They just haven't been able to string it together as a unit. Paz back on the floor for Colombia. She wants it on that right side. And now has it on the right side. The left-hand layup is there. She can go left.
That's a great tone setter as she checks back in the game. All right, if you're going to give me that lane, I'm going to take it. Now you're going to have to make some decisions down low.
Capayen trying to draw the foul. Did not get the lay. Hodge working hard underneath. Her layup is not there, and she falls down and is going to be slow to get up. Trying to hustle back into your screen. Meanwhile, Delgado for three. Capayen clears. Good to see Hodge is okay. As Khalees will push. An attack. A wild shot that falls. How did she get that to go? That was simply sensational. Khalees counted in a foul.
What a wild shot. She was straight line right down the key through contact and a hook. And now all the momentum switched back the other way. Colombia, outside of that Paz left-hander, has really settled for some outside shots against the zone defense. And so where are your Colombian leaders on the court? Getting that ball, orchestrating maybe something a little more aggressive, back to a 12-point game.
And Dominican now in a 3-2 zone. Paz, right-hand hook, not there. Munoz, the offensive rebound. Lopez swings to Valentina Lopez, banks in a three. It's the second bank three we've seen made here in the first half. It was Munoz first, and now Valentina Lopez offering. Keeping the banks open late here in Santiago on a Saturday. Evangelista on the pole, not there. And Paz able to pluck the ball out of the sky. Munoz for three. She left it short. That was a 2-for-1 opportunity there for Colombia. Khalees keeps the dribble alive along the baseline. Capayen back to the basket, looking to go to work on Munoz. Khalees for three. That's short. She's going to follow her own. Reynoso, good up fake, driving to the rim. Missed it. That ball is going to be last touched by the Dominican Republic, and a frustrated Reynoso slaps her hand on the stanchion there.
I don't blame her. I mean, everything's there, and Khalees working so hard to create really wide open opportunities for multiple teammates on that possession and capitalizing. 15-point game, lots of time, but those ones, they kind of stack up, don't they?
Yeah. 19.6 remaining. Colombia takes their final timeout of the half. Let's listen into their huddle.
Valentina.
No, ¿qué pasó allá? Ahí, Titani.
Cambiémosla del lado. Que la hagamos por este lado. Jennifer. Caro. Y Daya.
Titánica. No.
Puede jugar este pase.
La escena de la película.
Baja y sube.
La escena de Jackie Rose.
Caro se va y la sigue. Daya. Desde aquí el pase y empiezo a venir. Congelo y salgo al tiro. Y si no aparezco y voy con el poste adentro allá. Listo, hacemos el...
¡Vamos!
Mira el tiempo que nos va a quedar.
Go out of bounds. Go ahead and play it, frame by frame, please. So we have black, 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 black. Yeah, under the basket, right camera. Yes. Play it. So white, white. That is the touch by black. Yes. Can we see right basket, please? Yes, that one. White, black, 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 black. And then go ahead and put the main so we can see when she blows the whistle to put the game clock. $19.6. So the last one to touch the ball was black.
Yes,
right?
I agree.
We have white ball with 19.6 on the game clock and 14 on the shot clock.
Yes.
Yes, you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So after review, last one to touch the ball was black. This is the head coach challenge is successful. We have white ball on the baseline with 19.6 on the game clock and 14 on the shot clock. You go on, report.
Okay.
Yes, you say it all.
Our officials getting some well-deserved camera time here in Santiago here in the first half. Correct call there, as it was initially Colombia possession. They took the timeout. It will now be Dominican Republic ball. 19.6 on the clock. The shot clock would have been unplugged if it was Colombia basketball, but because it's Dominican possession, it's going to go back to 14. So no challenges left for either side.
I was just going to say, I wonder if the coaches came together at halftime and said, since we both got them right, you agree we cannot both get another one?
Yeah.
You get it right, you get it back. This game has potential to get pretty tight down the stretch. I kind of feel like that might come. Those challenges, they're big time.
Yeah, they might come in handy. Khalees. Let's see who touched it last this time. They say Colombia basketball. So now the shot clock will be unplugged. Dominican protesting. And now Coach Cueca will take his final timeout. It was given back to him after the last challenge. And he'll use it now and drop a set with 11.4 remaining in the first half. And once again, Coach Cueca, the mic is all yours.
Pancha. Jennifer. Manuela. Y Caro. Una saque Caro. Saque Manuela y reciba Caro. Y Julie. Listo, vea lo que tenemos para hacer un tiro. Sea zona o sea lo que sea, Juli va a pantallar, usted va a dividir para ir al aro y se encuentra tiro, tiro. Puede pasar y volver por la pelota, igual entre las dos tienen que llevar el balón allá. Listo, un solo tiro pues de nosotros. Vamos a meter.
11.4 remaining in the first half. 43-28 your score, Colombia in front. They started off the half slowly in terms of being able to get their offense going, and then exploded in the back end of the first period and have been in control of this basketball game since. They've led by as many as 19, have had a scoring run of 16-0. And Dominican trying to fight back in this one. A stop here would have them feeling a little bit better about themselves heading into the locker room break. Paz catches it to center of the court, and Rios will cross the timeline with 7 seconds remaining in the half. Rios kicks it, Delgado. She'll tee it up from the top of the key and get it to drop as the clock expires. Delgado clutch in the second quarter, coming off the bench with 5 big points, including that buzzer-beating jump shot. 45-28 your halftime score. Colombia in front and trying to find their way to the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup qualifying tournament.
And a coaching staff can't be more proud than when something like that happens, right? You call a timeout specifically for that play. Oh, the timing's almost perfect on it, right at the buzzer. Of course, the cherry on top is the shot actually fell. But the execution perfect for the Colombians, and that's kind of how their first half went, isn't it? Just super solid.
They led by as many as 19 points. Right now lead 45-28 at the halftime break. We'll take a look at some of the halftime stats here on your screen. And Dominican Republic hot shooting from three-point range, keeping them within striking distance here in this one. The rebounding battle, however, plus 11 for Colombia, and the ball movement just hasn't been there for the Dominican Republic. They've really worked hard offensively in one-on-one situations. They have one of the best one-on-one players here at Santiago, Capellan. That's why she has 11 points. Paz delivering inside for Colombia, leading all scorers with 15. Best plays from that second quarter, all yours right now, as the highlights led by Rios, who fed Paz that time, and Paz probably owes some rent from living on that right side of the floor.
Yeah, Colombians outscored the Dominican Republic 28-8 in that second quarter, so you're going to see a lot of Colombia buckets. This one forced a timeout right there, and that's where Coach really got on his teammates, because rim-to-rim action with not much resistance, a little more resistance, it didn't matter. You know, still finishes the tough bucket. The tough defense, those are the ones you live with, right? A tough, aggressive attack.
Valentina Lopez was able to come off the bench and drill some. She's led a bench unit that has scored 15 points here in the first half for Colombia. Evangelista provided a little bit of a spark for the Dominican Republic. A transition three, and then that layup gives her 5 at the half. 12 bench points for the Dominican Republic. Hodge contributing to that 12 with that layup. And Coach Zabaleta going to be happy to get into the locker room and regain some of his timeouts that he used early in the first half, and went almost 8 minutes without the ability to call a timeout. And that's how we stand at halftime, 45-28, Colombia in front. We'll be back with more here from the FIBA Basketball Women's AmeriCup.
Education, health, justice. We sometimes take these simple things for granted. They're not common for all of us. We are all born on the same planet, but not with the same opportunities.
Whatever our gender, color, belief or capability, we are one. We are all on the same team. Let's convince those who never thought they'd do it that they can. We can. Together, we are stronger. No matter your origin, basketball can bring everyone together. Basketball for good.
Maybe some size for Mexico as Ramirez backing one in.
Booker looks to get inside. Blocked by Batista.
Ferreira the other way. Counted in the foul.
What a finish by Catarina Ferreira.
A three and counted in the foul. Sammy Hill with a chance for a 4-point play. Gibb driving, slapped out of her hands by Paz. Inside Gauna, and it's better offense for Argentina. Gonzalez blocked by Egypt. Springs back out to Chagas. Chagas feels like she has a look in her eye and finds Cabrera for two. Gallegos, a lot more energy in this gym now over the last couple of minutes. Laura rolling, rejected by Cardoso. And Cardoso gathering the troops saying, hey, enough is enough. You see the Mexican bench, though, showing some signs of life.
I really have appreciated her performance and her hustles. Of course, the response down the other, and that's it. Just go back the other way, make the right play. Run the rim, find a layup.
That is unbelievable. These guys will be legends in their own countries, but also in the international basketball world.
Back we are here in Santiago, Chile, as the halftime score, Colombia leading the Dominican Republic in the classification round, 45-28. Top scorer from Colombia, Juliani Paz, has been dominant on the block. 15 points in that first half, exceeding her tournament average and getting Colombia to a big-time lead here at the break.
Yeah, that one she was on the run a little bit more, but for the most part, Paz is getting established and set on the low block, and the Dominican Republic's had a hard time jumping into lanes to really, first of all, discourage the post entry pass, but then also just not get pinned down low. Also, I would say ball pressure. If you really don't want that ball to get inside to their big, yes, your post defense is important, but pressure on the ball. Really try to discourage and make those passes tough. See that pass probably just a little too easy, too much vision. Nonetheless, you credit Paz for really staying composed inside and finishing some tough buckets.
The top scorer for the Dominican Republic has been Capayen with 11 points and counting. She averages 15 in the tournament, the third leading scorer in this tournament. Only Dominis Dantas from Brazil and Ariela Gigantes from Puerto Rico have poured in more points so far in Santiago. And right now, she is going to have to put this team on her back to try and get back into this game.
Hit those 3 threes to really give her team a big spark, to say the least. But she's ignitable, so she could be quiet for 8 minutes of a quarter, and the last 2 minutes will her team. We've seen her do that in some of the games they've competed in this weekend, or this week. So you really can't let up, but also I would expect the ball in her hands quite a bit here in the second half. That being said, her coaches also need her to defend on the other end, right? You have to get stops as well. 15-point game.
So 45-28 here at the half. This is the first of 4 games here today in the FIBA Women's AmeriCup. Our next qualification game will come up after this with Mexico and Puerto Rico. Mexico will be licking their, or excuse me, Puerto Rico will be licking their wounds a little bit after being upset by Argentina in the quarterfinals.
But also just licking their wounds, because that was about as aggressive as a game. It was the most intense game of this event by far, I would think.
Yeah, that was a battle to say the least. The game leaders here on the screen for the Dominican Republic. Semifinals a little later on tonight. We'll see a North American battle, Canada and the USA, a South American battle, Brazil and Argentina. So rivalry games in our semifinals a little later on. Those 4 teams already punching their ticket to at least the Women's Basketball World Cup qualifying tournaments, which will take place next spring. So spring of 2026. And you have to go through the qualifying tournaments if you don't win the AmeriCup to punch your ticket to the Women's Basketball World Cup, which will happen next fall in 2026 in Germany. Only 2 teams have already punched their ticket for the World Cup. The host, Germany, of course, they'll be there. We know that. Belgium making life easier for them with a big comeback win in the finals against Spain. So they will also be there. The winner of this AmeriCup will join them. The winner of AfroBasket will join them. And the winner of the Asia Cup will join them. And then we'll have the qualification tournaments to have the rest of the field decided. And these 2 teams battling for a spot in that. And that's what's at stake here in this game. The winner will continue their journey and punch their ticket to the World Cup qualifying tournament next spring. Juliani Paz powering Colombia right now with 15 points as she warms up here. You have to think that there were some conversations about how you guard her now, as we're halfway through this game. Reynoso with the 2 early fouls, Sosa with the 2 early fouls. Fouls aside, we saw some bright spots for Reynoso in terms of being able to try and front Paz, and that really caused issue for Paz with that movement from Reynoso, making life a little tougher on the catch.
Yeah, I think a good strategy always, too, is just mixing up your defensive looks so that Paz can't find that rhythm every time down the court. Sometimes that means different defenders, different body types, fronting, 3-quarters, post, and then you're going back, and then you're going man, zone. And sometimes when you're just kind of switching up things on a possession basis, that can make it tough for an offensive player like Paz, who really relies on getting herself set and finding rhythm. Now, to play like that, you've got to be great communicators. You've got to be on your P's and Q's. Possible, though, and then the other issue, too, I would say, for the Dominican, just the offensive rebounding. Colombia has 10 offensive rebounds for 15 second chance points. Harder to rebound out of a zone, and we've seen them play a lot of zone. Goes back to that great communication. You've got to get loud in here and start calling out checks and tags and all that fun stuff.
45-28 at the half, moments away from the start of the third period. We'll go into the Dominican Republic huddle as they prepare themselves to try and dig themselves out of this hole here in this basketball game.
Vamos a hablar por 10, Gamel, ven por Giovanni. Vamos a descontar. Ok, empezamos hombre. Ok, y los cambios van a venir a los 4 minutos, 5 minutos van a entrar los cambios. Pero necesitamos que los 5 minutos que jugamos, o los 7, presionar. Y vamos a descontar, vamos trazando una meta de descontar. Vamos a mover la pelota y vamos a defender hombre. Y cuando digamos zona, es zona, 23 o 30. Ok, vamos.
Dominicana, vamos.
There is Jennifer Jimenez, who left the game with an ankle injury. It looked like an ankle injury anyway. We don't want to speculate too much, but it was definitely a lower body injury, and that has kept her out of the lineup since then. So the Dominican Republic won't have her services, it looks like, here for the second half. Colombia basketball start things off. They lead 45-28 after the halftime break. Harlan Gay alongside Amy Hodderberg. Thanks for joining us wherever you are, however you're doing so. Rios probing. Paz. Working the left side of the court. Can't get the layup to fall. Hodge with the rebound. Kelly's kicks it out to Abreu. They move it one more time. Capayen for 3. Indeed.
Ball movement great in transition. Starts with the defensive stop. But how Colombia lost Capayen in transition. That's a quick shake your head and don't let it happen again.
She had 9 points against the Americans, already up to 14. A much better output from her. Munoz trying to respond with the 3. Can't get it to go. Capayen almost gave it up as the ball fell right in her hands and then popped out. And Maybelle Martinez was kind of shocked that that ball was right at her fingertips. Hodge on the drive. Gets deep position and forces one up that goes over the glass. She was guarded there by Gonzalez. So, go ahead.
2 very aggressive opening offensive looks for the Dominican Republic, though, and that's a very positive sign for them.
Yeah. And Hodge getting the start now to start this second half with Jimenez unavailable. A travel there by Martinez. So on the floor right now for the DR, Reynoso, Kelis, Capayen, Hodge, and Abreu. Kelis, Hodge, and Abreu started the game on the bench. Capayen on the drive. Got it to go.
Fake you out because she got me.
Yeah,
I thought she was
too.
pulling. I thought she was pulling from long, and then she almost took some sort of wonky hesitation dribble and exploded to the rim, stuns the whole defense.
I think Colombia thought that it was a discontinued dribble and just didn't get called, and Capayen's going to say, hey,
oh, you
we'll
go
take the
till
game.
that whistle blows, my friends.
On the floor for Colombia is Paz, Rios, Gonzalez, Munoz, who's on the rock right now, and Maybelle Martinez. Munoz step back. That's not there, and Hodge with the rebound. Kelly's looking to push. Finds Hodge. Hodge one dribble, and then gave it off to Reynoso. This is Abreu, driving on Paz. Reynoso's there on the cleanup, 5 to shoot. Reynoso tossed it up, can't get it to drop.
And it's such a strange offensive possession. Capayen was standing at half court the whole time.
And there's Capayen standing in the way of Gonzalez. There was contact there, but no call. Here's Capayen now trying to fight off of Martinez. They give it to Hodge at the nail. She chisels away inside, forces one up. Reynoso on the clean. How about this start from the Dominican Republic? Showing some life to cut the lead to 10, and that leads to a timeout with 7:12 remaining in the third.
Second efforts from the Dominican Republic. They've come out with an attack mentality. Kind of how the game started, right? Where Colombia looked a little half step behind, and then all of a sudden after a timeout really surged and picked it up.
And Coach Cueca taking his time to saunter into the huddle. Here he is on the mic.
Para Jennifer. Esta es Daniela, de este lado. Y esta es Julie de este. Mabel y Manu. Salga en este primero. Vaya bien adelante. Salga en el segundo. Aparezca y vamos a él. Vamos 7-0, 7-0, ¿cierto? Vamos a buscar a la otra.
Good start for the DR here to begin the third period. As this Capayen 3 kicked things off, and a 7-0 run leads to a timeout. And let's see how Colombia respond here. As Capayen definitely got away with the discontinued dribble there, but they'll take it. Coach Zabaleta, hands in the air, happy with the performance he's seen so far in the first 3 minutes of this period.
Because it looks like his team can turn it on real quick. Look at quick 7-0 run to start it off.
Paz down low, deep position, stripped by Hodge. And Hodge looking to push. The bounce pass back to Abreu to Hodge. Maybell Martinez might have got a piece of it, and then Abreu steps out of bounds. That's good hustle by Martinez because it felt like Hodge had an easy lay there.
Yeah, I mean, 2-on-1. Defense wins. Great.
That's why you do those drills.
Yeah.
I used to hate those drills, by the way.
Me too. I hate them, but every once in a while, the defense wins. In Colombia, you felt like they needed that in a big way.
Here's Gonzalez at the nail, kicks it out to Munoz. Inside the pause, and Reynoso's going to get called for the foul. It's her third, and she was trying to fight around pause. If you're a basketball junkie, I feel like that is the battle you just like watching. You're watching off ball, just how Reynoso's trying to fight around Paz, and Paz trying to secure position.
It's the timing of it where it's tough. You get caught behind, you got to pull the chair. Looks like she was trying to almost get into some sort of a three-court front, but if you do it at the wrong time, it's a foul or an easy catch.
De Los Santos, who checked into the game for Reynoso, 24 in white. At least thought about it and then took it, and it was a good decision. Maybe this is exactly how the game started. The Dominican Republic feeling themselves early in this quarter, and Colombia trying to figure out how to unlock their offense. Maybe that might help, as Gonzalez with the jab to free herself. And the LED boards in the arena are blank, and those show all the statistics and also the game clock. So the official will take an official timeout. That's the reason why the stoppage of play, but it'll give us an opportunity to talk about what DR has done to start this quarter.
Well, you got to look at Calise, and you got to applaud her and give her so much credit, because with Jimenez not available now, she has gotten the nod, and I think she's done an excellent job picking up pace. That's a good, just quick little cross step into a jumper. That's I always say, those are rhythm shots. When you just have the bounce and you've got 1-2 step into it. So that's a nice knockdown shot. And really a good stabilizer for Colombia, because Puerto Rico's been pushing back. And with the new lineup, you made the point, coach switching up his first five. They've coming out with a different type of mentality than they ended that half.
A look at the last bucket we made that knocked out both screens here in the arena, and we're trying to get them back up and running. That's Calise again. You mentioned the spark that she's been able to give the DR without Jimenez. A better offensive player than Jimenez, maybe lacking defensively. Jimenez gives you a little bit more of that physicality, that punch at her size defensively, but right now the DR will take some of those open shots and makes that Khalees has been able to provide.
I very rarely say this, but at times you prioritize offense a little bit, right? And you don't have to be the best defender in the world, but just resist a little bit. And hope you got some backline help too.
Capayen having a little fun here as she realizes her team on a little bit of a surge. The LED screen's back on and online. There is the captain and leader of this squad, Joanna Morton, looking on. She's starting this game on the bench, or excuse me, she's starting the second half on the bench after starting this game, and that really starting every game. So when she does get back into it, it'll be interesting to see how she's able to impact the DR. We just want to get the clock right now. The screens are on. We're just trying to get the game clock right, and it looks like we're A-okay. Coach Zabaleta clapping on the sideline, hoping that that little break didn't kill any momentum his team had. Khalees, top of the key. Tried to follow her own, and Mabel Martinez picks up the rebound. Here's Gonzalez. Martinez over the top for Paz. Abreu takes it back out. There's Hodge. Hodge driving right past Paz that time and able to get it to fall.
That's a great strategy. If Paz is going to bury you down low, bring her out to the perimeter, rip and go, and that's maybe something that the DR goes back to a little bit here.
Paz on the block. The double comes. Martinez frees herself open for three. Indeed. That's the one part of the game we have not seen from Paz, the ability to catch, draw, and kick back out. Martinez that time finding herself free for three. Capayen turning the corner, attacking Paz that time. That's not there. Munoz could not tightrope the baseline, and that goes out of bounds. Capayen, tough look. Can't get that to drop. And Munoz corrals. Rios with speed right to the tin.
What a take. Super aggressive, and she's not playing like, uh-oh, the other team's making a push. She's responding, and huge defensive breakdown on the back line from the Dominican Republic.
Munoz with great defense that time. Able to get the turnover as Capayen frustrated right now. On that last Rios possession, it was a good opportunity for us to see how she's been able to kind of manage these basketball games. She is the playmaker for this team, leading assists getter on this unit, but she does take the advantage where it's available offensively.
Yeah, she does an excellent job of just breaking down the defense. Make a read to the rim, but sometimes the pass is a better option.
Pass has not been the best option for Paz tonight.
Yes.
She continues
she's got
to score.
great advantage. She's not being rushed.
19 points and counting for her. Rios showing you the defense on Rodriguez. Helter-skelter offense. Capayen took a look at the shot clock. No, she has to put it up. She does from three. Can't get it to drop. And Paz with the rebound. Feels like that stoppage when the LED boards were knocked out kind of killed the momentum for the DR. Rios missed the layup that time. Batista had to be careful as Rios was tracking back. And here's Rodriguez just into the game for the DR. Watching Khalees. Rodriguez, and that's a kick ball by Rios. Khalees is coming right back into the game as Coach Zabaleta sensing that every time Rodriguez put the ball on the floor, Paz's eyes looked as big as the moon.
Probably getting in there to try to disrupt Rios a little bit, but she's just been substituted out of the game.
Morton. Here's Calise. Off the screen of De Los Santos. Calise takes it to the 10. Can't get it to drop. Ball ricocheting all around. Evangelista with a good up fake and pull. Can't get that to drop. Who wants it? It's going the other way.
A lot more energy from Dominican Republic on that offensive possession, though, and that's the first step. That substitution, that lineup came in, and now like putting pressure on the rim, working for better shots.
Yeah, they were flying that time.
Sometimes when you play with a dynamic scorer like Capian, who can get off her own shot, sometimes you get into that habit of just trying to watch her operate.
Munoz for three. A high arcing shot that drops. Lead back to 19, just like that. It is the largest lead of the game for Colombia. Evangelista will try to respond. That's way off.
Such a game of runs, Scarlett. Again, I mean, this is, the scale gets tipped in this one because it looked like Dominican was pushing back. They got it to 9 points just a few minutes ago. Now looking completely defeated again on both sides of the court.
Gonzalez driving in from the foul line. Can't get the lay. And Calise will push back the other way. Munoz all over Capayen. So Morton will have to drive. Off the window. They're going to call an offensive foul. It was a late whistle, but Gonzalez got there in time. And Morton picks up her first foul of the game.
See the drive. It's a nice first step. And yeah, Gonzalez, who actually was following De Los Santos, said, oh, wait. I thought she did a nice job of getting 2 feet down and staying very vertical. She was a little narrow, but.
Lopez can't get it to drop. When it's a 50-50 call, I like to, if I was an official, I would like to reward the defender, and Doc Gonzalez was there.
Block charge, those are the tough calls in the game.
Paz has a double-double, 19 points, 10 rebounds in this one. And she could smile right now as she knows she's on the big board here in the arena. Her team up 19. Morton down low. Over the top of Caicedo. And that doesn't fall for her. Carolina Lopez will dribble back the other way. Vente. They swing. Caicedo open for three. Off the mark. And De Los Santos has it. Capayen has not been able to touch the ball in the last couple of trips down the court. Munoz has been all over her. Morton backing her way in on the smaller Caicedo. Skip pass. Evangelista. 5 to shoot. Here's Capayen now. Over 2 defenders. Can't get it to drop. Lucky to dry iron. And then there's a foul as Gonzalez was trying to corral the rebound.
Well, listen, Colombia also had hit a couple shots in the last couple possessions, but they've done an excellent job of locking down on defense. Some really nice possession stopping the ball. I know Capian wanted the call, but she really wasn't squared up to the rim, right? And so the official, if that's close, I thought Colombia did a really nice job of surrounding her and staying vertical.
Dominican Republic started on a 10-0 run at the beginning of this quarter. They've scored 2 points since. So Amy's point, it's been lockdown defense for Colombia. Munoz's 3 over the zone, not there. And Calise could not corral. It's going to stay here with Colombia possession. Delgado will check into the game for Munoz. As Capayen is taking a breather right now, that will allow Munoz to rest. I'm sure she'll be back in the game the minute number 3 and White jumps off the bench. Here's Delgado. They get it inside Vente. Evangelista all over Vente right now. Lopez for 3. That's not there. Rebound Gonzalez. And a fresh 14 for Colombia. Seconds Well, 3-second difference between shot and game as Gonzalez drills the three. And the Dominican Republic are going to take a timeout to draw up one play here to close this quarter. It's a 22-point advantage for Colombia as they're feeling themselves and trying to punch their ticket to the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifying tournament.
6 segundos. Tengo que pedir minutos porque me da pena lo que estamos haciendo. Me da pena lo que estamos haciendo. Estamos defendiendo 23. Tú vas aquí, tú no vas aquí. Parece una loca por tu terreno. Si quieres ir para allá, porque no quieres ir, manda a Genesis que quédate. Genesis, ve, quédate tú aquí. Estás corriendo por tu terreno. Entonces Genesis camina, Gizzy se camina. Entonces tú lo haces todo, ¿no? 23. Abierta. Abierta. Aquí va Genesis. Ahí va Genesis. Y Gizzy va aquí. Cuando traes la bola para acá, tú te quedas aquí, la vienen para acá, vienen para acá. Y si no, habla. Ok, 6 segundos. 6 segundos. 6 segundos. 6 segundos. Sacamos. Déjala que ruede. Bloqueo de Gio. Bloqueo. Bloqueo de Angie.
That last three here cashed in by Gonzalez. Came off another offensive rebound here for Colombia.
Well, Colombia had 15-second chance points at half. That was going to be a key. You said 18 now, so that was it right there. That was the first second chance conversion of the third quarter, but what a big one.
Gives them their largest lead of the game. Kelly's. Abreu with time. Abreu, good if it goes. No, she stepped out of bounds before the shot. It'll be Colombia basketball. We're going to add some time back on the clock here as both teams are going to their bench. So we're going to add some time back on the clock here as Abreu stepped out with some time. And let's see if we get it right here. It's 0.8 seconds, so enough time for catch and shoot. And as fast as Caicedo is, might even be enough time for a dribble.
Yeah.
That ball up for grabs, and Reynoso able to intercept her offer short of the mark, and that's how we end the third. A 22-point advantage. Colombia 10 minutes away from punching their ticket to the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualification tournament.
It's unfortunate for Colombia because they came out to such a big run to start this second half and really got themselves back into this game, but foot kind of came off the gas a little bit. And as soon as Colombia really started picking up the pace and responding, the Dominican Republic just couldn't match that. And listen, they were still down. When you're down, you got to come up with stop-score sequence in a big way. This is the Dominican Republic, the big run they went on to start, and coach is saying thank you. This is it. This is our game. This is who we are. Really nice job hitting some outside shots, but then also getting downhill and finishing at the rim. Thought this game was going to be a different look maybe at the end of the third quarter than what it actually is, because that was a huge shot right there. I believe that's what got it to 9. Yeah, everyone looks like they're having fun and loose. And then Rios responds in a big way, got downhill, but also created for her teammates. And Colombia actually ends up winning that quarter, despite that big run that the Dominican came out with in the second half, excuse me.
We're seeing a lot of offensive best plays, because that's what highlights typically are. But really, we need to show a couple of the Colombian defensive plays in that quarter, holding the Dominican Republic to just 2 points from the 6-minute mark on. Easy for me to say. Courtside name 1891, your companion app for the Women's AmeriCup here in 2025. You can find it in your favorite app store. It's your home for international basketball. Dominican Republic coming back on the court with a 22-point disadvantage. Colombia right now all smiles. It will be their basketball to start the fourth. And they are 10 minutes away from a trip to the FIBA Basketball Women's World Cup qualification tournament. The top 6 teams here at the AmeriCup will at least punch their ticket to the World Cup qualification tournament. And that's what's at stake in this one. Hodge on the straight line drive. Finds Reynoso, who's going to travel. Reynoso took a hit to the face as she's reacting. And a missed call there. She's not even arguing, just walking back on deep.
Yeah, a lot of traffic in that possession. Colombia with complete control. Look for them to just run through some of their sets, especially against the zone, right? You just kind of pop that ball around. And
a missed shot there by Lopez. Batista running the floor beautifully there. One thing about the Dominican Republic, they're not going to give up here. Lopez finds a gap and drills the two.
I don't think Colombia is either, right? I mean,
Capayen now with back-to-back play makes. She found Batista and that time Reynoso.
you start feeling good, feeling like you got some rhythm again. Well, you got to pick it up on the defensive end. And what a big hit and a big response.
Yeah, Delgado stepping into a three that time. Feels like an F1 pace right now.
Yeah.
As Khalees turns the corner. Reynoso over the top. A pause, and she gets it to fall. Delgado down low now. Paz, who has been dominant on the block. Can't get that to fall. Rejected inside Batista. Paz keeps possession. 8 on the shot clock for Colombia to work with. Caicedo gonna have to put it up. Does. Can't get the roll, and Batista vacuums it in.
This is those increments. Can you get it to 10 by the 5-minute mark?
Yeah, they're still alive here in this basketball game. Lots to play for. Khalees weaving through traffic. Nice handle that time to find some space for two.
You kind of get the feeling that they do have a surge or push. They've got the capability, but here it is right here. You have to sit down and get stops.
And that one slapped out of bounds. They'll stay here, Colombia possession. You're right, Amy. In their runs so far in this game, they've had a 10-0 run, they've had an 8-0 run. It's been defensively that has sparked their offense.
But they've been quick runs too, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's been a 5-minute. They've been quick runs. And as a team, if you know your identity and your ability to do that, you should feel still locked in and engaged here.
Paz shows the up fake. Tried to bulldoze her way to the rim, and she's going to get rewarded with free throws here as Batista palms to the sky. Can't believe it.
Yeah, it's a tough one because Paz actually dribbled away from the hoop almost and into the defender sitting there, and I'm not sure if she was seeking contact or just a little out of control, and that's a case of wrong place at wrong time.
And the shot clock was also winding down. And Paz with the unorthodox release, able to knock down the first. Well, Coach Koika needed to call a timeout for his team to respond early in that first period, and they responded in a big way as they lead right now by 20. Paz on the block once again, and she traveled. Reynoso pulled the chair finally.
Yeah, that's and didn't get buried so low to the rim where Paz had to put the ball on the court or make a decision with the ball in her hands, and then you pull the chair. You run into problems with a body like Paz when you get buried like a foot or 2 feet from the rim. So you can kind of force her high a little bit on her catches. Might be able to generate some stops.
Here's Hodge on the drive. Reynoso on the follow. Couldn't get it to go. And Carolina Lopez will drove back the other way. Paz showing you the range. And it goes out of bounds. Maybe not the shot you're looking for from Paz, but with a double-double of 20 and 10, you kind of allow her.
Yeah, sometimes you just earn the right to take it.
She also saw Venti over there sitting there waiting for her to sub in, so she said, you know what, let me
make her miss.
Yeah, let me make this one. Or at least try. Capayen, top of the key, almost slipped on the jab. Has to reset here. Now trying to cross over on Caicedo. Got her own miss. Forces it back up. Vente rejected. Lopez. Caicedo in the corner. Sprays. Delgado for three. Headband falling off of her head, now bouncing around her neck. Having to track back to defend Hodge. And got the steal. How about Delgado? Lopez to Valentina Lopez for three. That's off. Some sloppy play here in the last couple of possessions. This Capayen working on Lopez. Inside, Reynoso was fouled, and she'll go to the line.
Really would like to see the Dominican Republic sprint down the court after stops, because that was a great possession with pace, and you're going to get to the free throw line. But now you're working against the clock a little bit here too. We've seen them go on that quick 7-point, 10-point run in a couple of minutes, and so you don't want to call it over. Right? 5 minutes and 43 seconds in the game of basketball is a lot of time, but you just don't have the luxury of walking or advancing the ball up at half speed.
If you're a Dominican, it starts here at the free throw line, an opportunity to chip away at the lead with the clock stop. A missed opportunity on the first for Reynoso. Reynoso, seasoned vet with the national team, playing since 2018. Through 8 FIBA events, has won 4 silvers in her time. She's not going to get to the podium in this one, but has a chance to help the Dominican Republic punch their ticket to the World Cup qualification tournament, and maybe a chance at the World Cup in Germany. That three falls for Delgado from the corner.
High arc, what a beautiful shot. She's so calm on her catches when she just looks like she's not rushed at all every time.
Kelly's on the hesitation. The step back, too strong. Vente lands in the hands of Reynoso, always around the rim.
Good things happen. I tell you, when you're a post player, good things happen when you're around the rim.
You see the leadership from Reynoso, making sure Los Santos got out to defend the shooter. Caicedo barely keeping her foot on this side of the court as Vente pulls and drops it. Coach Cuenca could relax over there on the LED boards. His team up big. Morton, quick trigger. That's not there. Time starting to run out now on the DR.
Yeah, you feel the wheels falling up a little bit. And so for Colombia, have some fun. Move that ball around. Have some fun on offense. Set your teammates up for success.
Delgado with the pretty jump shot.
Setting Delgado up for success right now would just be simply give her the ball. She's in the rhythm.
She certainly is.
That one looked like it had a little bit of range too, and contested.
Morton now working on Delgado defensively. And Lopez swiping at the ball, preventing that layup by Morton, who smiles on the way back down the court. Just one of those nights for her from the floor. Los Santos not allowing that entry pass, and Calise will push the other way. Calise weaving through traffic, then met by Lopez. To Los Santos. Morton. Two-man game, Morton and Reynoso. Morton gets the switch she wanted, but then skip pass. This side, De Los Santos has to put it up. Got it up, and she was fouled, and she'll head to the line. Delgado picks up the foul. It's her first.
And when you look down this Dominican Republic roster, got to know them quite a bit over the last week or so, and just everybody across the board who we've seen really have big games, big moments in games, just haven't consistently been able to get going this morning. And it's unfortunate because I wasn't anticipating this game to be a 20-point plus game. I thought this was a pretty even matched one, but that being said, I don't want to take away from Colombia. They've come out And even though to start the game and start the second half, looked a half step behind, look how much they're up right now. They have been so efficient in their attacking and pushing, but then also coming up with some key defensive stops at big moments here.
They led by as many as 25. They lead by 23 at the moment after those free throws. For Colombia, the last 3 World Cups, or excuse me, AmeriCups, have ended in this fashion of them with a chance to finish 5th. They were trying to break through here in Chile, but had a tough road in front of them and losing in the quarterfinals to Canada. And now this is the reason why they're in the classification round, but showing their dominance right now as one of the top teams in the Americas here in this classification game. Shot clock violation, first of the night, in fact, for Colombia.
I know they want to break through beyond 5th, but Carlin, look at this tournament.
Yeah, it's tough.
These are tough teams, and so I'm not saying they're not capable, but there also has to be some grace there, and you finish top 5 consistently every year.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, right? I mean,
being top 5 in your region, which, as Amy mentioned, the Americas, it's tough to crack that top 4. And certainly something that Colombia should be proud about. And Coach Cueca, who has helped build this program, is now thinking about, all right, we've had some success here in the Americas. Now let's see what we could do at the world stage and the World Cup. They have their eyes on punching their ticket there. They got to go through the qualification tournament to do it, but at least that's the next step for them, and they have something to build towards.
Right, but now you're geared up for the qualification tournament, right? I mean, you start thinking about that, and got about 10 months? Just trying to do about 10 months to prepare and find ways to continue to get better, and look forward to seeing that team because they do compete hard.
They do, and they have the luxury of playing with each other for so long. And it's funny, when you talk about teams that have a core, it doesn't often include the entire roster. And that's what it feels like for Colombia.
Really almost is, and their younger players are so special. I mean, highlighted by Marta Mascarella, who you haven't seen today. A little bit of a leg injury, but at 17 years old, I thought she was one of the more impressive young players in this tournament, and she would change their dynamic, no doubt.
Certainly. Great shot blocker, was leading the team in blocks, 2.5 per contest. And Mascarella playing in the Italian Serie A league. It's her first senior national team tournament. She was a junior member of the national team at age 15. And at the U18 Americas Championship was a flat-out star, averaging 19 points and 10 boards in that tournament. So even without Mascarella, I mean, even thinking about next spring and the World Cup qualifying tournament, you add a Mascarella, that's someone else that's super talented and on the wing and can defend at a high level to help Paz, to help the Lopez's, to help Rios and Coach Cueca.
And probably play a pretty decent role.
Yeah.
Sometimes you kind of add that one little thing in to something that's already been there, this core, half a decade, completely changes, elevates. And so I would be really looking forward and excited about that if I'm the Colombian Federation, because she really, again, like, I think she's a very special player.
I know we talked a lot about Mascarella, but I'll just say this one thing and leave it. She's still 17.
Yeah, that's, that's what it is, right?
She's 6'3" right now. Her body might not even be done growing.
Yeah.
Like, she could add some size and add to her game. So if this is her floor, just you dream about what her ceiling could be like.
Well, she moves really well.
Yeah.
She doesn't play like, she could play almost with a guard skill set a little bit, stretch 4, and so that type of player especially really can change your offensive makeup.
No doubt. It's an offensive foul there on the screen, and Delgado, you don't want to see this. Happy that she's getting off the floor, but you hate to see a player get hurt late in a game like this one, with 43.2 seconds remaining. And I believe we might even look at the monitor for an unsportsmanlike here late in this game. The officials have been busy in this one, going to the monitor.
Well, these are 4 massive games today, right?
Yeah.
You know the semifinals, but these classification games are too, and you get the sense that everyone came into the arena today knowing that.
So they're going to see if they need to upgrade this to an unsportsmanlike foul, and we'll listen in.
We are going to review if the contact meets the criteria of the unsportsmanlike foul. Go ahead and play main camera, normal speed. Yeah. There is no attempt to play the ball, and it's an excessive contact on the neck, face. This met the criteria for a C2. Okay. Do you agree?
I agree. Excessive foul.
Yes. So after review, the contact meet the criteria for an unsportsmanlike foul. We have 2 shots for number 22 of Colombia, and the ball on the side with 14 seconds on the shot clock, 43.2 on the game clock. After review, the contact meet the criteria for unsportsmanlike foul, so 21 unsportsmanlike foul. We have 2 shots for 22 and 43.6 on the game clock, 14 on the shot clock. 2 shots.
So 2 shots for Delgado at the line. You never want to see that from a player who's clearly frustrated in Hodge.
And I mean, the correct adjudication, right? The arm came up and it was excessive.
And even before that, she delivered a shove off the ball. It was clear that she wanted to deliver some level of punishment and did.
Had this been a tighter game, maybe a bigger implication.
Yeah.
But just want everybody to not get hurt at this point.
Agreed. 41 seconds remaining in this one. Delgado will try again for 3. It's there.
Base is mine.
Puts her fist in the air. And a big smile as she trots back on defense.
And what a performance from Delgado. And the block.
The block.
She's not done yet.
Continuing to dazzle right now in the last couple of minutes is Delgado, up to 19 points right now, Amy. And that's off the bench. 5 3-pointers.
You look at the 2-man game with Delgado and Paz, and I know they weren't really playing off of each other. They just got big time, they received big time moments. They were set up by their teammates and they executed and finished off plays.
Reynoso will try, can't get that to fall. Knew she missed it, so she tried to fall on her own. It's last touched by Colombia with 7.7 remaining in this basketball game. So Colombia is going to win this one and move on to the 6th place game, and they'll play the winner of Mexico and Puerto Rico. That's our game coming up here next. Hodge for 3, almost banked it in. Paz at the rebound, and appropriate that we end the game with her having the basketball as she led the way for Colombia with 20 big points. A double-double night for Paz. Colombia's defense suffocating the Dominican Republic all night long, and then 81-53 final means Colombia have a chance to punch their ticket now to the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualification tournament.
A brilliant performance for Colombia, getting up this morning with a mission in mind, and certainly executed in a big way. I really respect the fact that they did not let the Dominican get back in the game. Close to 9, but then completely took off after that. So look at the rebounding effort, 56 rebounds, and a lot of that from their backcourt, crashing in there, staying super aggressive.
So the crowd now acknowledging Colombia as they're victorious here, and that huddle should have a lot of smiles after the prayer, and they break as they know they are now moving on to the World Cup qualification tournament after this win, and they have an opportunity to finish in 5th place for the 4th straight AmeriCup. They'll play the winner of Mexico, Puerto Rico, which is our game, on deck. Big smiles and jersey pops for Colombia as they come into focus there. And the focus was clear tonight. 81 points on the board, holding the Dominican Republic to just 53 with some good defense. And they're fired up as Caicedo leading the charge into the locker room.
Well earned today, Carlin. Like that win, you go take it. Sometimes you just go take it. And really, outside of the first couple minutes, it didn't feel like a whole big competition, right? Colombia just came in, wanted to completely dominate the dominant team, and job well done from them.
Yeah, Coach Cueca should be impressed with the way that his team performed here tonight. And Juliani Paz with 20 points leading the way, finally breaking out of her funk here in Santiago, Chile with a big effort. Another double-double for her in her career, fantastic career playing at the AmeriCup level. Schedule of the day on your screen: Colombia 81-53 lead, Mexico, or win rather, Mexico, Puerto Rico coming up next. Then the semifinals, Canada taking on the US, and Argentina and Brazil, a North American battle and a South American battle on deck in our semifinals. The best plays from the 4th quarter on deck, and they are all yours. A lot of offense is going to be shown here, Amy, but it was a very tight and stingy Colombian defense that held the Dominican Republic to just 26% from the field and 53 points on the board, and it was able to power this win and an opportunity for this squad and this tight-knit unit to now finish 5th for the 4th straight time in an AmeriCup here in Santiago, Chile. By the way, Colombia, they've only played in just one World Cup in their program history. They punched their ticket to the World Cup qualifying tournament to at least give themselves a shot to make that a reality for the 2nd time in their country's history on the women's side. So this is a massive win for this program, a massive building block for this program, and they did it the right way, playing both ends of the floor.
And now everything for this program and organization moving forward is about preparing to compete for the World Cup. They were excellent today, and you feel like they were thinking of that, right?
Yeah.
Like they came out and like did not mess around at all in the first couple minutes, but as soon as they snapped into it, coach called the timeout, didn't draw anything on the clipboard. And that was a big response for the rest of the game from his team. So like I'll say, the word I keep going back to is earned. They earned that opportunity to compete in that qualifying tournament this morning.
81-53 your final score. Colombia over the Dominican Republic. They'll play in the 5th, 6th game against the winner of Mexico and Puerto Rico. For Amy Audibert, I'm Carlin Gay. So long for now from courtside here in Santiago, Chile, as Colombia punched their ticket to the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualification tournament with a big win over the Dominican Republic.